I don't know about the rest of you, but I am sick and tired of hearing about this Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall fight that is nowhere close to happening right now. And at the time I'm recording this, May 2nd, I think now is the time to strip Jon Jones of his heavyweight title, because I don't think this is just hurting the heavyweight division. I think this is hurting the UFC's business going forward when it comes to future events. And that's what I'm going to talk about in today's video. My name is James Lynch. So at the time of recording this, we don't have a main event for UFC 317. Now, all signs are pointing to Ilia Topuria headlining that card, but wouldn't it make sense to have Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall headline that card? It's a marquee event. Tom Aspinall last fought in July of last year, so it'll be a full year before he fights again. I don't think he wants to wait around any longer. Jon Jones fought in November. We saw him defeat Stipe Miocic. That's more than enough time off. And to me, it just makes so much sense to have this fight headline that card, and you're not scrambling to find another main event to headline this event. Now, I know people out there watching this are going to say, well, Jon Jones only fights in New York, and that's typically what they want to do. Okay, but let's actually book that fight then. Let's get this set in stone. There's no talk of that right now. At the time of recording this, there has been no headway on Jon Jones fighting Tom Aspinall, other than the, little social media cryptic tweet or something here and there from Aspinall or Jones. We're not getting any information, and I've said this for the last 2 years. I don't think this fight's ever going to happen. So if it's not going to happen, let's stop waiting around. Let's stop pretending this is a thing, and let's move on with the division right now, because again, it's hurting other cards. We already have the main event for UFC 318. We don't have the main event for UFC 317, and part of this is the UFC can't go to the cupboard and pick some of their big superstars to headline cards because they have situations like this, like with Jon Jones. And I know obviously this is a unique situation. Jones is at the tail end of his career, but come on. Enough's enough here. I don't know what the holdup is. I don't think it's worth it. This is the 2025 version of Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler. And to me, this is even worse because there's a title involved here, and there's an interim champion in Tom Aspinall who's getting held up. Let's go look at some of the stats since Jon Jones has fought, or sorry, since Tom Aspinall has been interim champion. This stuff blew me away. Check this out. So here's a list of fighters that became champions since Tom Aspinall won the interim championship: Alex Pereira, Ankalaev, Dricus du Plessis, Bilal Muhammad, Ilia Topuria, Merab Dvalishvili, Raquel Pennington, Volkanovski, the second reign, Juliana Pena, and Valentina Shevchenko. That's since Aspinall won the interim title back in November of 2023. It's crazy. Now let's look at the record that Tom Aspinall broke. He's the longest reigning interim champion in UFC history, surpassing Renan Barão. 534 days, Barão's 534. What are we doing? Just make Aspinall the actual champion. That's the other thing, too, they could do to solve this whole problem. Just promote Aspinall to the champ, strip Jones, and then Jones can fight for his belt back. But this whole thing of him holding the belt hostage, holding the division hostage, it's not ideal for anyone. And I feel bad for people. And I've had people message me right now being like, hey, what's going on with UFC 317? What's going to be the main event? Like, I want to get tickets. It's May 2nd. This event's June 28th. So next month, I guess almost 2 months right before that event takes place. But fans are getting antsy, and the UFC's not exactly lowering their ticket prices. People want to know what event they're going to be paying for. And again, I think the UFC's got to come to a decision on this Jon Jones thing, because I think it's just holding everything up. Because again, if you had some clarity on Jones, book Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane for this card or something, right? Just to get the ball moving a little bit. They've got to start planning more events because fans want to buy tickets. They want to book hotels. All these things are being held up because of Jon Jones. And listen, there's no excuse. Jon Jones fought in November. It's more than enough time off between now and him fighting in July. He's not getting any younger. Jon Jones going to be, how old is he now? He's 37. He's going to be 38 in July. What are we doing here? This to me, like, I understand this is the biggest fight the UFC can put together. And I'm not here to crap on Jon Jones or his career. I think his career is amazing. You can't take away the accomplishments, especially what he was able to do at light heavyweight. But at some point, the UFC's got to quit. Usually the UFC is the one that's calling the shots with their fighters. Like, we've seen them be like, no, if you're not fighting, we're going to move on here. Look what they did with Francis Ngannou and the title. When they couldn't come to an agreement, they ended up doing that interim title fight with Cyril Gane, right? So they have the power to do it. It's just the UFC, I don't know why they're banking on this fight happening, because I think it's pretty obvious to everyone out there, this fight isn't going to take place. Even Chael Sonnen came out the other day and said, it's looking more like Aspinall and Cyril Gane, and that's not exactly an appealing fight either, but at least the division's moving on. My only guess here is that the UFC wants to do this so badly because they're trying to avoid doing Tom and Cyril Gane. Now, why would they avoid doing that, even though it's a fresh matchup? Well, Gane arguably lost his last fight against Alexander Volkov. If you go look at MMA decisions and you look at the scorecards for that, a lot of media members felt like, and I think even people watching this video right now would agree, that Cyril Gane did not win that fight. He won by split decision. But if you go look at the media scorecards here, one media member scored the fight for Gane. Everyone else scored it for Volkov. So even then, we're getting a fight with a fighter that probably doesn't deserve this opportunity. Now, you could do Volkov for the fight too, but Volkov already fought Aspinall and lost. Now, obviously, Volkov's improved since then. But my point is that the plan B option for Aspinall isn't exactly appealing. But I think at this point, like, you just got to go with plan B. Plan B is move along with Aspinall, and in my opinion, he shouldn't have to fight for the championship. He is the championship. Aspinall, in my opinion, has been fighting the best fighters in the division outside of Jon Jones. So if you're doing that, just promote him to champion. He should be defending his heavyweight title in his next fight. Not this, he has to earn it back or has to fight for a vacant title. I don't agree with that at all, because this again boils down to Jon Jones. And the whole thing was, and I said this prior to the Stipe fight even happening, all Jon had to do was just not be the champion anymore, give his belt up, like we saw with other champions, Yuri Prohaska, Jamal Hill, vacating their titles when they knew they'd be out for a while. If he just would have fought Stipe in a one-off fight and no title was involved, no one's going to care. Aspinall could move on with his career. Jones could do his own thing. It's totally fine. He wants to fight Alex Pereira, go for it. You don't respect Tom Aspinall or whatever it is. I mean, Jones has given a number of different excuses. I need 6 months. I need more money. I need all these different things, right? Let's say he's hell-bent on fighting Alex Pereira. Okay, then make the Pereira fight. Just don't make it for a belt. Like, it's as simple as that. I think that is really what is making fans get frustrated and upset about this whole thing. It's the fact that there's a belt being held hostage right now. And Aspinall's in the prime of his career right now, guys. Look at this. He is 32 years old. He hasn't fought in over a year. Just turned 32. I mean, you have one of the most talented fighters on the heavyweight roster, period. And he's sitting on the sidelines waiting for this guy to make up his mind. I think it's pretty obvious he's not going to fight. So just man up. It's not even man up. The UFC's got to man up. That's who's got to man up here. Strip him. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like again, these other cards are suffering. I already saw all the people upset with UFC 318, the fact that we have a BMF title fight headlining a pay-per-view. I get people's frustration with that. I don't think the fight's as bad as some people are making it out to be. But the BMF belt, I mean, honestly, let me know in the comments. Do you guys care about that? I don't. I get it from Poirier's perspective. Again, this is something I argued, when I did the video on this fight, is I get it from Poirier's perspective. He can, have his retirement fight as something where he can actually win a belt, in his opinion. Even though I don't think the BMF belt means anything, it might mean something to Poirier. I get that. But this is what we're left with. We have to do kind of made up titles to fill pay-per-views because guys like Jon Jones aren't fighting. Or, McGregor's not fighting. They don't have big names at their disposal that they can go and headline these pay-per-views. UFC's having to scramble, right? We don't know what's going on with DDP and Chimaev. That was another thought of 317, but that's obviously not taking place. Now, look, I've said it again. It's going to end up being Topuria against someone, whether that's Topuria against Oliveira or Gaethje or someone for a vacant title, or it's going to be Islam, fighting Topuria at the end of this whole thing. We still don't know yet. We're still kind of wait to see what's going on here, but I don't know. This is just like just a silly game the UFC's playing where I think they're just keeping out a sliver of hope that the fight's going to happen, but it's not going to happen. And again, I'll be the first one to come on here and do an apology video if Jones and Aspinall happens. But this is just getting so ridiculous. And now it's starting to trickle out to other events where we don't have, you look at the schedule right now at the time of recording this. I don't know. You guys let me know. I feel like the UFC has planned things out a lot more in advance than we've seen this year. Like, this is what we've got. We've got obviously 316 set, 316 is not the strongest card. 317 doesn't have a main event. 318 we do, but it's a BMF title fight. What's it going to look like beyond then? We have no idea. So again, UFC, if you're watching this, I know you're not, but strip Jon Jones. Let's move this division on. And then if Jon suddenly comes to his senses and wants to fight Tom Aspinall, then do it. But Jon will be the challenger, not the champion. Right? Like, you can't be holding a division hostage like this. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Do you guys agree with me, though, that basically because Jon is sitting on the sidelines here, the UFC is missing out on putting some big fights together for these upcoming pay-per-views? And I think the fact that we don't have a main event for 317 and the fact that Jones is still not without a fight, I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it kind of ties together. Same thing with McGregor. We saw the tweet, what was it, a week or two ago? He wants to fight Chandler all of a sudden. Don't bank on that happening, because we've had lots of opportunities for that fight to happen, and it hasn't happened. The UFC needs to make the call like they did with Michael Chandler fighting Oliveira and get Aspinall to fight someone else. And let's get this thing moving. It's 2025. No time for for people to be sitting around and waiting for something to happen. It's time to strip them. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.